Hello and welcome to the Calling the Real You podcast. I'm your host, Pamella Horton, and I call the real you out each and every week with special guests like the one we have today. Today we are talking with Marc Grainger, and we're going to be discussing getting your message out to more people and how to have a bigger impact in the world while using speaking, public speaking, to get more clients in your business. Now let me tell you a little bit about Marc. I'm super excited actually. For multiple reasons to have Marc on the show. And before I introduce him and share a little bit about what his background is, one of the reasons that I want to offer up as to why I'm excited to have Marc on the show is because he really has a beautiful mixture, beautiful background, much like the audience of Calling the Real You, from corporate America and now works with spiritual, he's very versed in the spiritual side of business and aligning spirit and business together. And so with that, I want to share with you that Marc has executed over 450 branding and promotional campaigns as the advisor to companies such as McDonald's, Budweiser, Aflac, and Marriott International. He's actually an award-winning branding consultant, creating over 1,000 radio commercials for companies like Coca-Cola, Wells Fargo, and hundreds of conscious business owners. He's also an expert in helping speakers and conscious business owners break through the limiting beliefs, we know that we have them, right, that are holding them back from fulfilling their true purpose. And Marc, he has a very special gift and a really unique passion for helping you, yes you, get your message out to more people and have a bigger impact in the world. Marc, welcome to the Calling the Real You podcast.
Well, thank you so much, Pamela. I appreciate that introduction. It's my goal to live up to the standards you just set.
I'm sure that will be a very easy process for you. Now, I know that this is the first time that you and I are directly contacting today, but we did speak just for a few moments before the call, and we're connected through another colleague that we both love and adore. And anyone who knows Gina, I'm a fan and really just love and wish to support, hence our connection here now and today. And so if you would, please just take a few minutes to tell us and our audience where your passion comes from. Like what's your journey been from years past to today?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. And and I'm one half of a team with my wife Shannon. We're Marc and Shannon. And what's really interesting is as I tell you about kind of my story, she had almost a very similar story. So for years we walked this kind of similar but separate paths that eventually brought us together. And that ultimately stems from a huge desire, a huge priority, a big value on personal growth. And that started from me, I think, when I was a young boy, and it followed me into college. And I think I really embraced it after I had my heart broken in college. So I had an amazing girlfriend. We dated for about a year. And when that ended, I started seeing that I needed to have better communication skills. I needed to understand relationships and women. So I started looking inward, and that's what drove me into psychology. I ultimately went to graduate school to become a marriage and family therapist. And then after a year of graduate school, I was frustrated because I'd also gotten my master's certification in neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, and it was going against the grain of traditional psychological modalities. It was really going more about fast change. And what I started to see is that there's a place for your traditional psychology, but I wanted to go out there and really motivate people through business. And I felt like I could have a bigger impact in business. And so that's what I started to do. I started learning how to market myself, and it was a struggle. I had a hard time talking about money. I was raised that you don't ask people how much they make or how much they can afford. And so I really struggled because I had to change a lot of my typical beliefs of how I was raised in order to feel empowered to really be able to be effective in business. And I did extremely well working corporate as a senior branding strategist for Clear Channel Communications. And I got to see how corporate really isn't about changing the world or necessarily doing good with work. What I started seeing is that there was a lot of things broken, and I did not know that as a young man. And so when I went out on my own, I knew how to sell. I knew how to market. I thought that I had the skills to be a successful entrepreneur, but I struggled with my niche. And I'm telling you, Pamela, this was a big struggle for me. Here I had here I had helped hundreds of entrepreneurs and some of these great corporate giants really have some amazing branding. But when it came to my own, I couldn't see the forest through the trees. And basically over 7 years, I had 11 iterations of my brand, and was spinning my wheels over and over and over again. And I'd have some success here and there. I'd get a contract, so I was able to get by, but I didn't really feel like I was in my lane, on my purpose, and really making the impact I knew I could. And it wasn't till I got really, really clear of that I needed to have I needed to solve a specific problem for a specific group of people, that I began to really, really dive deeper into my spirituality. And I took what had been kind of a 20-year study of A Course in Miracles that was on again, off again, and an interest into a passion, and really began to see how Course in Miracles can be applied to money, marketing, and business. And then that's when I ran into Shannon, and we created this business together, Big Impact, showing people how to use speaking to grow their business. And from there, it has just been a whirlwind of success and fulfillment.
That's amazing. So the branding, the niche conversation, being able to help entrepreneurs but not yourself, it's kind of like you mentioned the forest through the trees. I usually refer to that as the shoemaker's children have no shoes. Right. And even the Course in Miracles and diving deep, you said before we started the call that there's some synergy between the four of us, my husband, you and Shannon as well. And very, very, very similar paths. I'm glad that we're not alone. But yet I love the fact that you had to go through all of that, because now the work that you're doing is just so impactful. And I know that you're helping thousands of people really find their purpose, their niche, and get their word out there. So thank you for the work that you're doing. It's super important, because there's so many people who do have a message.
Without a doubt. I'm really, right now I'm seeing that, there's the technology experts and geniuses that have been able to use technology in a very left brain way. And what's happening now is the world is hungry for artists and healers and experts who really have a more deeper message about the human spirit. And that's what's going to be more marketable than anything in the future. And so I did have to go through all of those things in order to really be able to be the visionary that's making a difference in those kind of lives of experts and coaches and speakers.
Very nice. Why do you think it's more important now than ever? Why do you think that there's the calling for the healers?
Well, in addition to, I feel like right now the world is in this crux of consciousness, and the world is calling in more consciousness, and so they're tired of the bullshit. Honestly, they can see and predict inauthenticity. It's not about money anymore. I think as people are starting to expand their consciousness, they're like, okay, money is a form of abundance, but it also needs to come with a solid, heartfelt integrity behind it, not just spoken, but lived. And so I think the nature of the world right now is that people are looking for authentic examples of living on purpose and really doing something that has an impact and makes a difference. And they're also tired of the predictability. I think that's the biggest thing that gets in the way of marketing and business is, one person does one thing well, and what used to take 5 or 10 years for that to catch on now takes 5 or 6 days with technology. And so we're able to really quickly see the launches and see all the things that everyone does, and it's very predictable. And we're looking for something that's original, and we're looking for people who are lit up and alive, being just who they are, and make no apologies or excuses for their desires.
I can appreciate that wholeheartedly. So tell me, you and Shannon working together, walk us through what it is that you offer. Walk us through what it would be like to experience working with the two of you.
Oh, wow, what a great question. Well, I think one of the best things for everyone to really get is that I believe, A Course in Miracles even says that everyone has their own specific curriculum. And as part of that curriculum that you're learning from the world, the universe has kind of organized it specifically for you. And what Shannon and I have recognized is that when you get ready to put your message out into the world, when you get ready to step into your calling, it's going to bring up a lot of fear. It reminds me of Marianne Williamson's quote, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure." And what we see is that people come to us when they're really ready to step into their power. And what happens is as soon as you start to step into your power, a lot of fear comes up. And often there's a breakdown that happens that's necessary for the breakthrough. And so we spend a significant amount of time, of course, landing on your niche and helping you get really clear of your marketing message, all through speaking. But it also stems back to our core wounds, those wounds that have occurred to us in childhood. And I believe, and Shannon and I both believe, that that core wound was placed there for a purpose. And oftentimes that causes us to learn how to deal with our family of origin or whatever environment that we're in a way that makes us be able to get through it. And then later in life, that can also create a lot of challenges in relationships. Typically, this shows up in relationships. It shows up with money. It shows up with time. It shows up with food and health. And so you've got to be able to start to look at what your core wounds are really about. Your core wounds are there to give you lessons that you're then meant to teach. And so that's really the key, is as you start to go into your core wounds and do kind of like a core wound cleansing, that becomes the basis of a transformational curriculum for the people you're called to serve. And so with Big Impact University, our program, we take you through a year-long program that's very transformational, and it gives you the nuts and bolts of business in a way that I don't think anyone else gives it to you, because it's based on your message. It's not based on technology or a launch. It's based on getting really clear of who you're meant to serve, and then understanding who you are from your core wound level so that you can step into your power and have a specific transformation that you offer a specific group of people, and how to talk about it in a way that inspires them, gets them lean in a way that allows them to understand the value that you offer. And that requires inner work. That requires a way of having a better and different inner game so that you can really put yourself out there in a way that people can feel you.
When you are working with how do you refer to your tribe? Are they your clients? Are they your customers? What's the type?
They're our tribe. They're our tribe.
Tribe, okay. When you're working with your tribe, and
actually, I'm sorry, that would probably be, we would call them our students or our clients.
Okay, thank you. When you're working with your students, when you work with your clients, and they're working on their core wounds, you mentioned something that is so truthful. When we experience the fear and we go through a breakdown, and which is absolutely necessary in order to have the breakthrough and for you to step into your power. Can you talk now? The next, what I'm about to ask you, the reason why I'm asking is because people are so paralyzed by their fears, whether they understand their fears or they don't. They're just living in them. And they don't recognize that when you face them or walk through the process actually is relatively quick. Would you validate that at all, or no?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we typically are able to take someone from, most people that come to us are like an undiscovered expert, and we're able to really launch you into what we call phase one of business profitability. And then it's about being able to create a business system that allows for that growth and transformation. It never stops. I mean, that's why Shannon and I love entrepreneurship. It is like personal growth on steroids. But the entire journey of business is marketing. And it's learning how to uncover and communicate and master how to talk and relate to your ideal client. And so your business needs to be built to support this process. And it allows you really to, as you unfold and you mature, your message evolves, but it allows you to have this space in your business to become who you're called to be. And I think that's what's really important is, so in a year-long time frame, most of our clients are able to go from really struggling. They're usually doing somewhere between, anywhere from, 80,000 to, sometimes, multiple six figures, but they're struggling because they know that who they are being in the world and how to translate that into a message that lands with their client requires something deeper. And so we're able to really quickly get you clear on your message usually within 90 days. And then it's just a matter of getting the inner game chops to deal with anything that comes up with the implementation of running your business.
What's your favorite part in working with your students?
Oh, it's the relationship that we build with our clients. Shannon and I are really hands-on. We have live events that's part of our curriculum. Our signature event is known as Big Impact Live, Speak Your Path to Cash. And I think that's one of our favorite things because, there'll be an audience of 300 plus there. We fire them up and we really give them insight that is different than what they're used to hearing. So we talk about A Course in Miracles and money. We talk about cleaning up your money shit, and we do it in a sexy way, so it's fun, and it makes you want to engage in it. And we talk about how to sequence your business. We call it the phases of business. And so from that, we're really able to connect with people who are experts, healers, coaches. We're so blessed with the caliber of people that are doing this kind of work in the world. People just like you and your husband, Pamela. I mean, they're doing it. They're making good money doing something that really, truly is enriching the planet. And they've been doing the work for years, whether that's meditation or yoga or finance. They have a different take on it than the mainstream, and it's a more authentic, real take. And so when they start to come alive in their power, it's pretty amazing. I mean, the people that come through Big Impact University, they transform, and that is beautiful to witness and be a part of.
I don't recall. I think I thanked you for the work that you're doing, but if I haven't already, I want to thank you right now before I forget again. Thank you both to you and Shannon for the work that you're doing. It's super important. You're right. There are so many people who practice what it is that they're teaching, and they are undiscovered, and they're absolutely needed in the space, and you're a wonderful catalyst to making that happen. So thank you.
Thank you.
When someone joins you and they would like to be a professional speaker, and you're teaching them, speak your path to cash, are they earning money both by being are they earning a living by both speaking on stage, so to speak, or at events, and along with selling their programs and products, etc., or is this just about earning a living through public speaking?
Love what you're saying there. So what we see as the biggest challenge is that when someone who's brilliant at what they do says, I'm ready to start a business, I'd like to monetize my expertise, they go online and they start looking for resources, and they'll start opting in, and they'll opt into things like how to use Facebook to get your message out there, or build your business with YouTube, or get SEO and article marketing. And before you know it, you're inundated with all these great ideas, and you have no system, and you're not making any money. And what we've seen is that the technology piece can really, really get in your way. And what most people are not teaching, I don't know anyone who's teaching it, is the sequencing of your business. So we believe what we've been able to show over and over and again is in our program, our promise of Big Impact University is how to turn 10 minutes of stage time into $10,000 plus. And to do that with small speaking engagements in your own backyard. We're talking free talks, and those free talks in your own backyard, you're able to go, imagine that you're able to drive 20, 30 minutes to a Chamber of Commerce meeting. You have a talk to maybe 25 to 50 people. And then from that, because you structured your talk correctly and you know how to talk to your ideal client, your ideal clients will raise their hand and lean in. And then it's not uncommon to fill your whole funnel of potential leads for the month with one speaking gig. And so literally one speaking gig a month can lead to a six-figure income, which is actually going to be a lot easier to monetize than if you're on the phone trying to call and get paid speaking gigs and you have no celebrity, no real name behind you. it can be really hard to get paid what you're worth because you just don't, no one knows who you are, and you really don't have the credibility to get paid $5, $10, $15,000 for a speaking gig. So the small speaking gigs in your own backyard and knowing how to talk to your ideal client using the Speak Your Path to Cash formula is what we have found. I mean, Shannon and I used that. We made over $400,000 in our first 10 months of business without a website.
I'm sorry. Let me interrupt you, just guys and gals who are listening. Please, Marc, would you please repeat that?
We, in our first 10 months of business, using only small speaking gigs in our own backyard, we generated $400,000 without a website or business card.
Amazing. Incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And what's even better is that it's a duplicatable, repeatable system that we've done over and over again with hundreds of our clients. And they're thrilled by it because they've put 90 days, $10,000 into a launch formula that they learned online, or they've gone to this training that talks about how to use Facebook. And there's a place for all of that. But most of the experts that have a life-altering message, that expertise really isn't in technology or online marketing. It's in more of the human arts. And so it's nice when you are able to generate that revenue through small speaking gigs. Then you can hire the experts to build your funnels. You can hire the people that really know what they're doing and love that sort of thing. What the mistake we see a lot of people doing is that they're trying to educate themselves on how to build their own website. Well, the minute you build your own website, you've basically put yourself into not positioning yourself as an expert, but as an amateur, because people can see what your website looks like. They can tell that it hasn't been built by someone who knows what they're doing. And you've wasted all that time and energy that you could have been serving people that really needed your message.
And you and Shannon have not been doing this for like working in this capacity, the Big Impact University. How long have you been doing this for?
Well, Shannon and I are products of the industry. Together, we have about 20 years experience. She used to do multi-speaker events and have six-figure weekends with people like Mark Victor Hansen and Lisa Sasevich on her stage. I was in the branding world and had done, couple 300 different trainings. But when we came together with Big Impact, March will be 4 years that we actually have had this business together. And we actually started this business about 90 days after starting dating. So we were all in from the get-go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I just want to stop for a minute and slow down for a second. I know that both of you have over 20 years experience and that this is similar work, but you've crafted a message and a method that's duplicatable, and it's been in 4 years that you've done that work, that the first 10 months time where you accrued and generated that income for yourselves, and that is really powerful. So those of you who are listening, I couldn't agree more with Marc. I mean, Eric and I have been there. We've tried doing it the old paradigm way that you just mentioned, Marc, in terms of building your websites and the ClickFunnels and all the pages and all of that technology that just weighs you down. So if you are a professional that really just you are compelled to share you're compelled to share your message and are swimming in the plethora of information out there, I really encourage you to check Marc and Shannon out. Marc, what is your website?
The best website to go to is bigimpactlive.com. That breaks down everything around our signature event, Big Impact. You can also go to marcandshannonlive.com, which is our personal website.
Thank you, and we're going to give you out another link too in a few moments here for something special that you and Shannon are offering. Would you please share a little bit more about that, please?
Yeah, so I think what I really want people to understand is the biggest mistake that we see brilliant people making in their business is that they're building their business in the wrong order, and your marketing message remains. Typically what happens is if you're trying to do Facebook ads and online media and all that sort of stuff, before you've honed in your message, you're going to be in a lot of pain. So you've got to make sure that your marketing message is relevant to your ideal client. And one of the ways to look at this is we've created what is known as the expert freedom formula, because we are just now, 3 years later, just now starting to get online. And this is after years before coming together, trying to do all this and spinning our wheels and messing it up left and right and screwing it up. And so we've created the Expert Freedom Formula, which is just a nice little pamphlet which takes you through the 6 steps to go from an undiscovered expert to an industry thought leader, a recognized thought leader. And it's great because it breaks it down and shows you exactly what you need to do first and what you need to do next, all the way from when to write your book, when to get your TED Talk, when you'll become a celebrity guest appearances, all the way to when to do your first webinar. It really breaks it down on what to put first. And it's a handout that's also accompanied with a video training. It's about a 20-minute video training that just walks you right through the Expert Freedom Formula and shows you really how to get your message out in the world in a way that allows you to make it profitable as soon as possible.
Excellent. Thank you. And Marc, with your permission, I do have that special link that I'd like to share with everyone. Are we ready to do that?
That'd be great.
Awesome. So that link, with what Marc was just sharing with you, the Expert Freedom Formula, the link that you want to go to is bigimpactlive.com/EFF as an Expert Freedom Formula. So one more time, that is www.bigimpactlive.com/EFF. And we'll put that in the link too for the show. Marc, I'm going to just spin this a little bit here. Before I let you go, I really would, first of all, love to invite you to come back to just continue the conversation. Maybe we could have Shannon join us at the new time.
Wonderful.
And then, are there any questions that I'm missing? What question would you like me to ask you so that we make sure that your message is really getting out there today?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, we all talk about the question I think everyone should ask themselves is, who am I called to be? I think a lot of the times we'll hear things like fake it till you make it, which I think is the antithesis of authenticity. We don't want to fake it till we make it, but we do want our future best self to turn around and reflect back to us who we're called to be, and then we step into that and act as if. And so the question that I would want people to ask themselves really is, who is it that I'm really called to be? And what are my next best steps on monetizing my message? And if I could leave people with anything, it would be, have a spiritual practice, make business your spiritual practice. Your business should become your ministry, and it should become a way for you to grow and evolve financially, spiritually, emotionally, while you're providing that same exact extension to your ideal clients. And so be focused on getting profitable. Business is about creating a system that impacts the world, but it's also about creating a system that generates revenue. And so many of us have money shit that we've got to get cleaned up. And the easiest way to clean up your money shit is to start making it.
Yeah.
So, so let's get you profitable and making money with your message before you're investing in a big fancy website, before you're investing in, a big launch, just heart to heart, face to face, live speaking engagements is how you'll leave your heart print on the world. And that's how we did it. I mean, I think the last thing I like to leave people with is, Shannon and I studied legacy makers, people like Martin Luther King Jr., Marianne Williamson, Steve Jobs. And these are people that created a movement and have changed the world with small speaking gigs in their own backyard. Pamela, do you know how big Martin Luther King's church is that he started his ministry in?
I actually have no idea.
Yeah, 88 seats. So he started this whole movement on race equality with just 88 people in his church. He didn't have autoresponders. He didn't have Facebook. He didn't have web pages. He just had a message that was timely. And that message mainly was nonviolent protests, being peaceful, but taking a strong stand for what you believe in. And he will go down forever as someone who has shifted the consciousness of the planet to see the beauty in all of us, not the color of our skin.
Beautiful. Marc,
so when you look at the patterns of those legacy makers, those things are duplicatable and repeatable. And one of them, the first pattern is small speaking gigs in your own backyard.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Thank you for figuring that out and creating a duplicatable process for it, because it is needed, as we said earlier. Before we go, I really want to invite you all to just kind of hear what I'm about to say. There might be some of you who are listening to this and be saying to yourselves, already cutting yourselves off from the opportunity and possibility of working with Marc and Shannon because of lack of money or not having just the idea or the belief that you don't have the money. And I really want to invite you to open up and understand that sometimes, if not all of the time, the way to elevate yourself and up-level you is to invest in other people that can put their hand out to you and help you up to the next ledge. And if you are scared or fearful of doing that or feeling helpless because you don't have the money, it's okay. It may not be the right time at this moment, but just be open to the idea that the way to elevate yourself is with the help of other people. And Marc and Shannon, not to just segregate. I don't want to say, Marc, that you're not good enough here on the call. I'm including Shannon because you started the call with saying that you're a team, right? So I'm just saying Marc and Shannon are those people that can absolutely help you, and invest in yourself. Invest in yourself, because if you do have a message, the way that I know that a lot of the audience does that's listening today, not only are you worth it, but so aren't we, and we need you. And the one way to get there is through Marc and Shannon. So I invite you to just really look at it that way.
Beautifully said. Yeah, and Pamela, I want to take a moment to acknowledge you. I mean, you're creating a platform where people who are making a difference in the world have the opportunity to get their message out into the world, and we call this the ripple effect. So you're doing something that's allowing us to get our message out, and it'll land with it'll land with your listeners, and then if they work with us, they get their message out, and then they transform a life, and then they transform a life. And ultimately, we believe that this industry, we call it the empowerment industry, is the industry that is going to bring in a new earth and change the world. And the world needs more love. I mean, too many people are operating from fear, and when we can operate from love and have faith that through our action and through our bold action and through our words that we can really make a difference. And so thank you for creating a platform that allows people to come on and have an interview with you and spread their message.
Thank you. It's part of my calling. I'm answering who I am, right? So thank you for that. And it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to just share energy and time with the guests such as yourself, Marc. I look forward to having both you and Shannon back. I want to thank everybody who's listening, who took the time out of your busy schedules to share your time with Marc and I today and be part of the Calling the Real You family. That link, one more time, guys, is bigimpactlive.com/EFF as an expert freedom formula. Thank you again. I wish to thank, I'm just so grateful to have this opportunity to do what it is that we're doing on the podcast. And I want to take the time to thank God and to thank the opportunity to be who I am and share our resources with the world. I want to thank Eric, my husband, my best friend, my business partner, because with his support, he makes this possible with me. And I also wish to thank Reverend Patricia Coagnello, whose platform Calling the Real You podcast airs from. And I wish to thank Lux Salon Spa, Yola Portraits, Karen D. Felice Designs, and of course the transformational music by my friend Jim Oliver. All of you have an amazing week. I hope that you found today's episode extremely helpful. And remember, call the real you out every moment you have a chance to. Thank you, everyone.